Uh, our guest of honor, Dr. Lawrence Wantai, our principal, the board chair, all the guests, and the colleagues and students. Good morning. We want to start our ceremony this morning, and we will start with our nation anthem. I will request the scouts to take us through. The scouts.
All creation, justice the shield and defender. May we dwell in unity, peace and liberty. Plenty be found within our borders. Let one and all arise. With hearts strong and true. Service be our highest endeavor. And the homeland of Kenya, heritage of splendor. From where we stand to defend. Let all with one accord. In concord united, build this a nation together. And the glory of Kenya, the fruit of our labor, fill every heart with thanksgiving. Mungu twaomba unilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Yes, let us applaud our scouts. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We would like to ask Madam Rose Mukaya to open this assembly with prayers.
Good afternoon. Let us stand for a word of prayer. We are praying. Dear Lord and Father in heaven, in your presence we come this day, thanking you for the privilege of life. We thank you for the time that we are going to have our conference, the time that we are going to share in this opening ceremony. May you guide us until we come to the end. We thank you for the presence of our guests. We thank you for the presence of our chief principal and even the council. That, Lord, as we share in this program together, your blessings may be for this, our National Polytechnic. Be with us until we crown the event on Friday. This is our humble prayer, believing and trusting in Jesus' name.
Thank you very much. We are doing well. Our guest of honor, sir, we want to entertain you with 2 items from our drama club. Our drama club, that group is led by Madam Junde Gidaiga, and would like you to take the stage. While they are taking the stage, I would like to appreciate all of you who are gathered in this place. This is our 4th international conference, research conference, and we have come a long way. As we see this day, we are full of thanks to God because he's the one who has enabled us to come this far. Between 2013 and 2015, we only managed to mount 2 research conferences. And after that, we had a downtime in terms of research conference. We only bounced back again last year, and from last year, this time again we are here, and we want to make this an yearly event. So we are very grateful. Karibu sana, and enjoy the entertainment. Thank you.
Let's appreciate our drama group. We appreciate you so much for such a wonderful presentation about Mutura base. And I believe some of you who are Mutura lovers, because I know there are addicts of Mutura here, you can be able to connect with the story. Now, our chief guests, our next presentation is just a documentary. This is a documentary that talks about Kinap at 50. Kinap is Kiambu National Polytechnic, and as you are aware, last year we were elevated to a national polytechnic status, and hence our name that we have been using as KIST, Kiambu Institute of Science and Technology, changed to Kinap, Kiambu National Polytechnic. So Kinap at 50, it's a documentary that talks about the journey that the institution has gone through since inception by the founders of this great institution, what we have been able to achieve. And this chief guest was culminated last year in November when we did a celebration of Kinap at 50. And I want to believe you are going to see more of this. And just one more information is that this documentary is one of those ones that qualified for the state concert that was graced by His Excellency Dr. William Ruto in State Lodge, Sagana, the ones that ended just after the national competition. Thank you very much. Enjoy as it comes.
In 1972, a mammoth fundraising harambe was held at Kirikiti Stadium, Kiambu, presided over by the then President of Kenya, the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. A total of 4.2 million Kenyan shillings was raised, a staggering amount in those days. On the same occasion, the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta launched KIST and became its first patron. The first foundation stone of the institute was laid by the late President Mzee Jomo Kenyatta on 3rd August 1974. 50 years down the line, the growth is vivid. The dream and vision of the people of Kiambu to establish a middle-level institute to provide technical education to secondary school leavers shines. The institution has made strides in achieving its vision and mission as a center of excellence in TVET training, contributing towards Kenya becoming an industrialized country as per Vision 2030. Missioned itself in providing and promoting quality training in science and innovations through emerging technologies by providing courses focused on giving learners skills that will enable them to fit in the job markets. We further engaged the principal of the Kiambu National Polytechnic in laying more emphasis on the 50 years journey, the school's elevation from a TVET institution to a TVETA accredited National Polytechnic, and the strategic plan.
My name is Sami Waititu. I'm the principal of the Kiambu National Polytechnic. Formerly we were known as KIST and fondly so, and now we have been upgraded to a National Polytechnic. This is the highest level that a TVET institution in Kenya can go to. So we are proud of it. The institute was started way back in 1973, so last year. So we started around September in 1973 with 125 students, the 2 academic departments, and over the years we have grown. As we talk, we have 8 academic departments, and our population as of September last year, when we were celebrating, was 9,200 students. That's quite phenomenal. And also administrative offices to cater for that for that big population comfortable. The biggest milestone should be the number. The growth is in number of programs from 4 in 1993 to 68 programs at the moment. So we have been using the mainly theory-based which is a competency-based mode of training. When considering an upgrade, the government will normally look at the kind of infrastructure that you have. And anybody coming to KIST will tell. In fact, many don't think it is a technical institution. They think it is a university. Okay, that's our status. We are already there. But then we know that we have a very important mandate of training manpower, and particularly the workers, those who are hands-on, those who are able to make things happen. That's our mandate. So in terms of infrastructure, we are there, equal to any university that you can think about. So that is one thing that is considered. We also have enough adequate staff, where the government provides a majority of them, and where we don't get enough, we supplement with those hired by the council. So we have a large piece of land, adequate for our current use and future growth. That is another consideration. Again, our performance in terms of the graduates we have released to the market. They are known for their performance. So those are the things that were considered, and then we were found to be fit. We know this was long overdue, and so we are happy that it finally happened after some wait for some years because of the government procedures and protocols.
KINAP is located along Kiambu Road, Kiambu County, 15 kilometers from Nairobi CBD. It is part of a 200-acre coffee farm. With a population of 9,200 students, there is a need to have a link between the students and the administration. That being said, the gap is filled by the Dean of Students.
My name is Isaac Nyakundi Mukaya. I'm the Dean of Students for this great institution called Kiambu National Polytechnic, formerly known as KIST. And we thank God that we have recently been elevated to a national polytechnic, and we're here so that we can be able to serve the nation. Kiambu National Polytechnic is a very big institution. It has close to 10,000 students. At the moment, I think we're around 9,200. And those students coming from 8 academic departments. My role, or this office of the Dean of Students, just as the name suggests, is basically in charge of student welfare. And when we talk about student welfare, it is very wide, but we look at some of them includes acting like a link between not only the staff, but also to the administration of the institution. I link the student body with the staff and administration so that for their needs to be met, that is the academic need, which is our core business. So I'm able to link our students to the staff and also to administration, air out their issues, concerns. Of course, in any society, there are concerns that come up. So the students' concern, I am the one who air them out to both the staff and also to the administration in general.
Baking being one of the pioneer departments, KINAP boasts of being the best institution in the country that offers the required skills for the job market. Evidently, we have success stories as we hear from the head of department, Madam Alice Gitika.
This is a department that offers mainly 2 courses. One, baking technology, and also nutrition and dietetics. In baking technology, we have 3 courses. We have artisan in baking technology, which takes about 1 year. We also have certificate in baking technology. Currently is being referred to as level 5. It takes about 2 years. We also have diploma. This is an area that deals with baking. And in baking, we also have 2 or 3 main with bread. We also have confectionery. Using the layman's language, we will talk of cakes and the sweet items that we find in the market, which we usually take with tea. Then we also have pastries. Pastries are also items that we take with tea, which are not exactly very sweet, but they have some savoriness in them. So that is the main area of baking.
To elaborate more about the hospitality department and skills offered to the learner in preparedness to the job market in the country, we decided to visit the HOD, Madam Eunice Ireri.
My name is Eunice Ireri. I'm the head of Department Hospitality. In the department, I also teach food and beverage service and nutrition. In our department, we offer 3 basic broad areas. So we have food and beverage production and service. We offer it at craft level and diploma level. We have culinary arts, still in the food and beverage service and production. We have housekeeping and accommodation, which is offered at diploma level and certificate level. And we have fashion design, also offered at diploma and certificate level. Our courses are skill-based. So we normally have students equipped in skills that are very relevant in the job market.
How would you call it an institution without blocks? How would we be mesmerized by the beauty of a city without buildings? We cannot create a home without buildings. Kiambu boasts of offering the best skills in the field, as the head of department, Madam Naomi Kihara, explains.
Building and Civil Engineering Department is divided into 6 sections currently, according to the way a building is divided. When you're building, you start with the design. The design part is, we offer architecture, diploma in architecture, and diploma in civil engineering. Then you have building. When now the building has been designed, it is now built. The one who builds, we offer diploma in building technology. Then we have diploma in quantity surveying. Those ones quantify the building in terms of labor, in terms of materials needed, so that now the client can know the cost of the material. Then we have craft certificate. Craft certificate we have in plumbing. Those ones are responsible in installing water, wastewater and clean water, and also water harvesting. Then you have carpentry and joinery, that is CCJ. That is craft certificate in carpentry and joinery. Those ones are basically do the wardrobes, the ceilings, and any fittings in the house. Then you have craft certificate in building constructions. Those ones do masonry, carpentry, and plumbing. They are the technicians that now build the building.
We also want to engage in short-term and online courses. One of the courses that we are targeting is baking, which should start by the end of this calendar year, where we want to train persons in their homes, and we are targeting mainly ladies, so that one does not have to leave her home or leave a kid at home, but will be able to give training, both theory and practical, from the comfort of their homes. Then once in a while, maybe once in a fortnight, one will come to the institute, go through some practicals, see the teachers, and feel the heat from our ovens, and also get the smell of the foods, because that is the only thing that cannot be communicated. But that is what the one way we want to go. I also want to say that as a national polytechnic, we need to provide more access. We understand that we have ladies who get in the family way before they complete school, We want to give them opportunities. And one thing that we are establishing is a lactating center. So that in the, I don't know, want to call it the unfortunate event, but if it happens that you are still a student and you have a child, you don't have to drop out of school. You can still come with your child, breastfeed the child, because we need a healthy nation. And this is one thing that we want to do as a national polytechnic. It is not common, but we are going to have one.
The Kiambu National Polytechnic actively participates in climate mitigation efforts through a dedicated tree nursery. We cultivate saplings that, upon reaching maturity, are transferred to fields, contributing to national reforestation goals. This initiative reflects our commitment to supporting the President's ambitious vision of planting 30 billion trees by 2027, impacting both our institution and the wider environment. National status is just a drop of rain in the ocean. Meeting the strategic plan is the aim to make Kiambu National Polytechnic the world-class TVET in the near future. The journey is on.
Wow, let us appreciate them better. So that is a keynote drama production. Isn't it wonderful? Yes, let's clap for them again. At this juncture, I wish to welcome the principal, our chief principal, Mr. Sami Waititu, so that he can give his opening remarks and also invite our council chair to also give his opening remarks. Karibu sana. Yes, let us clap. Let us applaud him as he takes the stage. Thank you.
The chief guest, Dr. Lawrence Gwantai, ably representing the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Education, Dr. Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, the Chairman of the Governing Council, Council members, distinguished keynote speakers, paper presenters, invited guests, KINAP staff and students, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I want to believe that it is already afternoon. I want to welcome all of you to this very auspicious occasion of our 4th International Research Conference. We want to thank you for making time to be here, and we want to say that we feel greatly honored by your presence. We want to appreciate the government for the many initiatives that it has taken to make Kiambu National Polytechnic a TVET institution of choice in this country and in our region. We want to say that we are one of the biggest polytechnics in this country. I think at the moment in terms of students population, we are ranked 3rd, which is quite an achievement. Remembering that in 2020, our population by the time COVID hit was about 4,800 students. Within that short time, we have grown, and this is because of the support that we have received from the government. I want to recognize some of the major opportunities that the government has offered to us and that has made us come this far. Mr. Chief Guest, I want to recognize the upgrading of the institution from a TVET, an ordinary TVET institution, or a technical training institute, to Kiambu National Polytechnic. We are very proud that we are now a national polytechnic, and like was mentioned, this was long overdue. Looking at the kind of equipment we have, the facilities, the staff, and everything that goes with a premier institution, we were already there. And thanks to the government for the upgrade. We want to appreciate the fact that the government has continued to equip the institution. We have the ongoing construction of the Industrial Mechatronics Center, which is actually a multi-billion project that is ongoing. You'll appreciate that we already have a roof on it. And the other day we had a roof festival that was done in Nairobi Technical, representing all our institutions. A roof festival is an important activity according to the German traditions. And since this project is being done by the German government, then we had to have it. It was a unique ceremony, and I think it is one that we can easily adapt. So that when you do a roof to a house, which is a sign of completion, then you need to have a celebration. And the roofing ceremony has already been done. We appreciate the government for the provision of computers, for the Gitume labs, which are creating online jobs for both our students and also the community. I want to note that we have partnered with the Kiambu constituency, where we have trained young men and women on the use of the doing of online jobs. They are free to come to our labs and do jobs that are readily available. So the government has also equipped our industrial mechatronics with the basic equipment. We are yet to receive the heavy equipment, but that is along the way. It is coming when the buildings or the workshops are finally completed. So I want to say that these are just a few of the initiatives that the government has taken. I want to say that Kiambu National Polytechnic has leveraged on the skills that our students get in the institute for sustainable development in Kenya. You may have noted that besides our main business of training in technical skills, we are also very keen on co-curricular activities. This year, we had quite a number of presentations that went to national level, and finally, we were honored to make presentations during the state function, where we presented before the president in the Sagana State Lodge, and the Mutura base is one of those that qualified for that function. You'll also note that we have the documentary that was done by our students. And so besides the technical courses, we offer skills in other areas. And as you realize, all the Kenyan youth are known for their creativity. As a national polytechnic, we have not been left behind. And that is why we have these two presentations that we have done. And I want to say that if it were not for lack of time, we would have had a whole day of very inspiring presentations from our young men and women. In terms of environmental conservation, this is another skill that we are equipping our students with. I want to say that at the moment we have the biggest tree nursery. Thanks to Kefri, they have partnered with us. They have provided us with the necessary expertise, and we have our tree nursery that has all manners of seedlings that you can think of. I want to note that we were privileged to be licensed by the Ministry of Agriculture, Kiambu County, to be a center for producing coffee seedlings. If you visit our nursery, you realize that we are on course to start producing seedlings for Kiambu County and beyond. So on our main area of technical skills, I want to note that we are the pioneer institution in industrial mechatronics. We already have five cohorts. One of them has already graduated, and I want to report that in this area, all our graduates were employed even before they got results for their final exam. I want to thank the government again for this initiative that is a sure way of ensuring that we eliminate the problem of unemployment among our youths. We want to make sure that all our youths are equipped with both technical skills and also entrepreneurial skills. And in this pursuit, we have made sure that all our students are engaged in productive activities when they are still doing their training. Chief guest, one of our pioneer projects was the construction of our institutional perimeter wall, where we have involved the building and civil engineering department. Instead of them going to the workshop every other day, constructing temporary walls, then demolishing them, we have decided that now they'll be doing permanent walls. We have a perimeter wall of several kilometers, and so every other day, those who are involved in setting up, they do the setting up. Those who are involved in the construction, they do the construction of a wall that is permanent. We already have done hundreds of meters of that wall, so that our students have the confidence that they are able to do it in their very first lesson. In food and beverage, just to give an example, when they do the meals as practicals, we want to ensure that those meals are fit enough to feed our guests. When we have meetings in the institute, we have made sure that the students or the staff who are involved in those meetings get their meals from the department. That way, we are giving the students the confidence, and we are also saving on cost. And we are doing this for all our departments. And once we achieve that, we are sure that we'll have a more efficient way of training. The students get the confidence, and also we manage operational costs. So I want to, once again, as I conclude, thank the board or the council for, now that we are council, for providing the resources to host this international research conference. Like was said, we started in 2013. We had this activity twice, and then we realized that the resources were not available, or that was not our priority. I want to thank the council for approving the budget for this event, and I want to say that this is our desire, and that is in line with our new mandate, is to have the research conference as an annual activity. Again, thank you very much, Chief Guest, for making time to be with us. And with those few remarks, I want to invite the chair of the council to come and make his remarks, and then invite the Chief Guest. Thank you.
Bwana Chief Guest,
Dr. Gwentai, members of the council who are present, the principal, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Or is it afternoon? It is afternoon. Good afternoon. I want to, with permission of the chief guest, take this opportunity to introduce the members of the council who are present with us. And I will ask them, because they are able to talk, to each stand and introduce themselves and tell them who they are.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rose Kemunto. I'm a member of the council. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Naftali Arodio Yugi, member of the council and chairman of Risk, Audit and Compliance Committee.
Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Richard Kropp, a member of the council and chair of academic and HR. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We also had one member who has just left because of some commitment. She's been called back to her office. She is Diana Tarisha. She has gone back to her office. But chief guest, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to Kiambu National Polytechnic on this wonderful day as we mark the 4th International Research Conference in Kiambu National Polytechnic. We are delighted to have you, and we thank you for the time that you've given us today. As a council, we are delighted because of this conference. And we have promised our support for this conference and the future conferences, because we appreciate the importance of research in any institution. As we were going around the exhibitions, it was a mark of the results of research, because the exhibitions that we are seeing are a result of research at our level. And therefore we know that it's very important for an institution to carry out research. In any case, it is a requirement for the for a national polytechnic to do that. And therefore we are very grateful, and we will continue supporting this and other conferences. As a council, we have had discussions with the management so that we can improve and increase the number of courses that we have in this institution, and to make it more attractive. And we have had discussions in the area of coffee, reviving our coffee farm, and also becoming a center for training about coffee in this area. We believe it's an area that is going to be very important. And since we already have a nursery, it will be a benefit even for the local community who can get or who can purchase coffee seedlings from us moving forward. We have also agreed in principle that we are going to be starting a geospatial course, and I believe that is coming in the near future. These are some of the areas that we as a council have thought that important to incorporate, that we become more relevant. And we also want to look at another area that is about training of petrol station attendants. That's another area that we have agreed that moving forward, we are going to engage in that. And I believe we are in the process of developing a curriculum along with CDAC. So chief guest, as a council, we are very supportive of this management of this institution so that we can be able to take this institution to the next level. We want to thank the government and please convey our sincere gratitude to the principal sector and the government at large for the recent upgrading to a national polytechnic. Like the principal said, we had all the elements required for a national polytechnic. But until and unless it is declared, you could not. So we are delighted. We are happy to be elevated to the status of national polytechnic. And we believe that this is going to help us have a more impact on the community and the nation at large. The project between the Kenya government and the German government is a major project of its type in this country. And as a council, we are very, very, very grateful that it is being done in this institution and during our time. We are grateful for the support of the German government and even the introduction of the dual training mode that has been adopted. As an institution and as a council, we will continue supporting the management of this institution to ensure that we can also have all the other courses patterned along the dual training under the mechatronics department. So in a nutshell, we're a chief guest. As a council, we are going to continue supporting this in any way. And we are happy that we always have a very, very cordial relationship. Advancement and
Mama,
very much, the SBA. Asante sana. Let us appreciate them again. We are doing well. Our chief guest. This year's conference has 6 sub-themes, and throughout the 3 days, we are going to be engaging around those sub-themes. I believe that this conference is going to be more interactive, more informative, and very vibrant. And I request that you just get a taste of what we are going to have in these 3 days today. The sub-themes, the first one, the green technologies for sustainable economic growth. The next one is CBET and industry collaborations. The other one is revolving around digital transformation and emerging technologies. Then we have innovative solutions for sustainable future. And of course, we have one on climate change and environmental sustainability. And we also want to be more accommodative, and we have the cross-cutting issues. So that is what we have lined up for us, and I believe each and every one of these will be a time to enrich ourselves in the new knowledge that is out there, in the new findings that researchers have engaged in, and of course we will also be getting the new solutions that are being advanced towards solving the societal issues. And so with that, this afternoon we are going to have 2 keynote speakers who will talk to us around the first 2 that I read, and then after those 2 keynote speakers, we shall have our chief guest take the stage. At this time, I wish to welcome Mr. Isaac Garachu. Mr. Isaac Garachu is the one who will bring us the first keynote speaker. I will also ask the concerned persons to set the stage for the keynote speaker so that we can save on time. I have been your MC. My name is Dr. Jane Gitao. I'm the Deputy Principal in charge of Planning, Finance, and Administration. Thank you very much.
chief guest, it's important the very first United Nations conference on human settlement that took place in Stockholm in 1972, gave birth to the United Nations Environment Program, and our first president left Kiambu Stadium and took a flight to Stockholm after fundraising purposes. We went to Stockholm, attended the conference, and came back with keynote, which is housed. So we are privileged to have the Global Center for Environmental Issues in Nairobi that was brought 3 days after his fundraiser at Kiambu Stadium. Who's going to unravel the theme on green technology for sustainable economic growth. Mr. Masinde is a Senior Environment Education and Information Officer stationed at NEMA, the National Environmental Management Authority in Nairobi. He has wide experience, and I want to request us to put our hands together as Mr. Masinde comes, talks more on this topic, and also tells us a little bit more about himself. Can we put our hands together and welcome Mr. Masinde?
Or good afternoon. Good afternoon. As, my name is Joseph Masinde. I've had experience with NEMA for about 20 years. Area of environmental information, education, awareness, and specialty in international negotiation. Focus on the economic capacity. We are happy to negotiate any international things address any African countries. Nigeria, the ministry is now director as enforcement. Now I'm using my making sure that so it's out to ensure that any structure and environment is maintained. Yeah. So my focus in this keynote speech will be on green technologies. The chief guests, other guests, the chair of the council, all protocols observed. I'm here for this Kiambu National Polytechnic to speak on the subject of green technologies for sustainable development. You have been told environmental issues started way back in the 70s, where we had the first conference, Human and Environment Conference, which was held in Stockholm, Sweden. Our president then attended the meeting. It has been clearly stated that when he came back with goodies. We ensure that the global environment body is hosted in Kenya, just a few kilometers from here. And we have been proud of that. That time, environmental issues were now coming up. And even a country like Kenya, we were experiencing challenges. That time, there was a lot of biodiversity loss. There was poaching of our elephants then, and the number of population of the elephants was really dwindling in the country. So, and when we talk of sustainable development, these are concepts which came up after the conference. We realized when we had principles which are adopted during the first conference, later on in the 80s, still environment issues were affecting the globe. There was development. Japan was really bubbling economically, but all this was at the expense of environment. That's why after 20 years, 1992, one of the outputs was to highlight the actions countries are supposed to put in place to ensure that environment is maintained. Agenda 21 had about 40 chapters. Chapters dealing with the issues of environment, pollution, desertification, climate change. We had who are the people who should spearhead in terms of addressing these environmental issues. The civil society, the private sector, the government should come together to ensure that we address these issues. The means of implementation. The means of implementation, we need technology, we need a lot of awareness, we need capacity building to ensure that these environmental issues are addressed appropriately. The second thing, which was the outcome of the conference, was the signing of 2 conventions. The Climate Change Convention, as well as the Convention on Biological Diversity. At the same time, the process started to ensure that we have a convention focusing on Africa, and that is the Convention on Desertification and Drought, which after 2 years, it was signed. As a country, Kenya, we were able to sign the conference. The then President, Daniel Arap Moi, attended the conference and signed the climate change and also the biodiversity convention. After 2 years, we ratified those conventions. That is, we domesticated the conventions as a country. And since then, we came up with a National Environmental Action Plan of 1994, which was adopted in 1994. That action plan came up with a framework of how we are going to address environmental issues as a country. It recommended the establishment of a body at national level. And that's how the process of formulating the Act, Environmental Coordination Act, came out. Management Authority. The Act was adopted in 1999. NEMA became operational in 2002 with the appointment of the first Director General. So the global community was now grappling with environmental issues. Now the focus has been climate change, biodiversity, and pollution. as we are facing economic development, we need to address these issues. And sustainability means that we have to address economic development, social issues, and environmental issues at the same time. There should be a balance between those three pillars of sustainable development. As NEMA, we are all addressing these issues. We seek to ensure that we have a clean and healthy environment through supervising and coordinating all matters related to environment. We have had programs sponsored by our partners, the NIDA especially, on green growth and employment program. This is a partnership which will of course contribute to the green growth and employment in Kenya. There is a component within that. NEMA underscores the fact that economic growth alone with environmental concerns is not sustainable. So we need to improve the implementation of policy framework and hence, of course, enhance the private sector adoption of green technologies. Private sector has been coming up. Example of the Safaricom, we have been able to partner in terms of that to help us in various areas. So the green technologies offers a path to reconcile and similarly commit demand, leveraging on innovations, both in the area of renewable energy, waste management, sustainable agriculture, and other areas. Right now, we are fighting climate change. In the recent past, since 2020, we have been experiencing prolonged droughts. About 3 or 4 years. We lost a lot of livestock, vegetation. This year, you all know what we have witnessed. The flooding. We have even lost human life, livestock, property, and even biodiversity. All these are affected by climate change. The country, we have been able to enact a Climate Change Act to address climate change issues. We have, even just within this month or 2 months ago, we were able to have regulations on climate change carbon markets of 2024. These are an area addressing mitigation of climate change by reducing the emission of carbon. So we know that carbon pricing encourages businesses to innovate and develop new technologies that reduce emissions. By placing a cost on carbon, these regulations make it more economically attractive for companies to invest in clean technologies and improve energy efficiency. Country Kenya, do you know that 90% of our energy is renewable? You can imagine the focus for employment should be on clean technologies. Renewable energy, like solar, wind, and hydropower, they are becoming the mainstream source of energy. So investing in renewable energy infrastructure can create jobs, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and reduce dependency on fossil fuel. Kenya is the largest producer for renewable energy in Africa. boasting a capacity of about 700 milliwatts of geothermal energy alone. Is, of course, this positions the country as the 9th globally in geoenergy production, surpassing fossil fuel. Over 90% of Kenya's electricity comes from renewable energy, as I said earlier, through hydro, geothermal, wind, and solar. On sustainable agriculture, traditional farming practice can be environmental damaging. Here we are advocating for organic farming, agroforestry. I'm happy that the institution is really engaged in agro. We are promoting the tree growing as well as the crops like coffee. I'm happy about the partnership you have with KEFRI, who are supporting you in the area of tree growing. Waste management is a big issue, even in the urban areas of Kenya. We were able to adopt the Sustainable Management Policy 2021, and then we came up with an act in 2022. Do you know that with a population of about 50 million, every person produces a half kilo of waste daily? The waste is composed of 60% organic, 30% recyclable, and 10% is others. So the Vision 2030 recognized the need for efficient and sustainable waste management. Right now, we have what we call circular economy. Circular economy is about we produce, but ensure that there's minimal waste. The waste we generate should be a product, an input product for another industry. Buckets on that. So we need to have minimal waste being dumped in our environment. So the circulations, these plastic bottles, it is their responsibility to take back that bottle, recycle it, and make sure concept of circular economy. Green building is another area we are also focusing. We want buildings which are energy efficient, Find buildings with big windows which will ensure that we don't put on our lights. There's enough light in the area, the energy, and then the waste generated within the buildings, you are able to treat it, ensure that before you dispose it to the environment, it's well treated. As NEMA, we are in the 47 counties. Under the NANITA program, we have been able to build what we call the green points. Now, we started way back about 2015, and we are right now, we are able to have built about 11 green points in various counties. Kajiado, we have in Embu, Isiolo, Turkana, Lamu, Kilifi. All these NEMA offices are now green points. And what is the functions of the green points? They are what we call the sustainable office design. They build with a focus of minimizing the environmental footprint. There's enough lighting, because they have big windows. Water conservation. You find even the roofs. There's a lot of water harvesting. I was in Lamu. The officer in charge there told me that it rained about last year in August. The water they harvested, they were able to use it for a span of 6 months. So you can imagine how water harvesting technology is very important in terms of environmental sustainability. The materials used, of course, they are sustainable. When you look at the tiles, they are made of plastic waste. They are, of course, demonstration sites. Communities come there to learn about technologies. When you come up with the innovations, you are able to exhibit in those offices. We normally carry out what we call expos. We organize for 1 or 2 day expos within those offices where we invite all the stakeholders, the communities, to come over and learn more about environment and the new technologies which promote sustainable development. There are also offices for meetings. There are other venues for meetings for groups, schools coming there to visit and learn more. There are also demonstrations for green technologies, as I said. Educational resources. It's a library. Of course, they have the publications of what we have done. So the economic impact benefits of green technologies, according to various estimates, renewable energy sector can generate over 70 million jobs by 2030. That is in Africa alone. And of course, the jobs are across all the sectors: manufacturing, research, development, and then providing opportunities for our growing workforce. And then we have the strange growth: green investment, higher innovations. Kenya's green economy, from the assessment reports, shows that a green economy scenario will result in faster economic growth. By 2030, the GDP could be 12% higher by taking a green growth path compared to the business as usual scenario. Of course, there are challenges. People have been complaining the high cost of investing in green technologies. But in the long run, there are more benefits. Government, private sector players, and educational institutions like this one must work collaboratively to create enabling environments for green technologies to thrive. The role of education and research plays a pivotal role in this transition. By fostering a culture of innovation and sustainability, we can equip the next generation with the skills and knowledge. We are talking of sustainable development. We have to think about the future generation. They want them to stay in a clean and healthy environment. When you talk of somebody staying next to a river, polluting the river, and yet you are giving birth, do you expect the children to be staying in the same environment? In fact, by nature, as a parent, I want my kids to be in a better environment. Me, I went to school bare feet. Do you want your children also to go to school bare feet? No. That's why we need to have a clean and healthy environment for all. So research and development can be crucial in advancing green technologies And institutions like these ones should be in the forefront for this effort. I'm happy to hear about GIS technology you want to adopt. We have been using GIS technology in terms of mapping out pollution areas, the industries which are polluting the environment. We are able to map out and able to regulate them, ensure that they follow the regulations we have come up with. As a parting shot, the other day there are studies which are saying learning institutions which use firewood. Do you know that in a year, what they consume is 55 acres of woodland. Just one school, an average school. If you are still using firewood, this is the much you are destroying the environment. I'm happy to hear that the ministry are coming up with the guidelines in terms of protecting innovations, intellectual property rights. We need to protect so that it becomes marketable, cost-effective. Don't just share your research work with others who can come up and commercialize it, and you don't benefit. So to make sure that it encourages you to do research, you also have to benefit. As a country, I told you I'm a specialist in biological conventions. The third objective is about benefit sharing. We have had foreigners coming to Kenya, taking our genetic materials, going out there to research. At the end, they commercialize those products, while the communities are not benefiting. Isn't you heard of the baobab? Somebody coming up picking our plants. You don't know what he's going to use that plant for. Commercialize it. Communities in Kilifi, will they benefit if there's no law in place to ensure that once he commercialized that product, communities in Kilifi are able to benefit? With that, thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph. And I want to believe each one of us has really gotten something crucial from the talk that we have received. And I want to give us a few opportunities, maybe 2 or 3, for some reactions. We've been taken through very well by Mr. Masinde on the green technology for sustainable economic development, economic growth. And a huge challenge to us, even as KINAP. I've heard of green building, that is energy efficient buildings. We are in a hall that we call Green Hall, and I want to believe it is because initially it was green on the floor, and we did some green walls, but I want to believe that is a different concept that Mr. Masinde was bringing, that we should be energy efficient, and because God has blessed us with sunshine today, we should actually be using solar. But here we are. So it's a huge challenge to us, and I want to believe every other department has been challenged. Circular economy. We need to do a lot on recycling. Our environment department, we should also partner with the companies to ensure that extended producer responsibility, especially on polythene, we are able to also partner with them and ensure that all our trees are grown on recyclable materials. Without so much, we've been challenged that 12% growth of the GDP is actually going to be through our green path. Isn't that great? I want to invite anyone with a question, a response on that area, and then we'll give Mr. Masinde an opportunity to also recap on that. We can have a mic going round. Just shoot up your hand. We'll be able to give you an opportunity to raise your question on the area that Mr. Masinde has taken us through. Questions? Question from this side? Feel free to ask your question. Okay. I think, Mr. Masinde, you can probably respond on one area. I was trying to think through the sustainable development in area of green technology, and I noted that Kenya is ranked as improving well, especially in the recent release of the sustainable development results. I think that is about 2 or 3 days ago. And Kenya seems to be doing well, or is moderately improving in areas of climate action. You've mentioned in that area, but we seem not to be doing well, especially in areas of health. So technology probably comes in there. Addressing the zero hunger, that is sustainable development number 2. We are still stagnated. I don't know how this technology or green technology can help us at least improve in this area. We also seem to be doing poorly, especially in area of sustainable cities. Thank you for giving us a highlight on what Dr. Macharia is doing. And in green cities and communities, we actually have decreased in the recent report. So how can technology probably come in to help us at least move a bit to remain on track? We still have only about 5 years or less to reach the goal, or to have attained the sustainable development goals. Any other probably response or question so that Mr. Masinde can respond to that? Yes, we have a question there. You can take a mic to our sister there.
Thank you. My name is Wangari Ndungo, and I must compliment Mr. Masinde for the presentation, which is so much eye-opening. Now that NEMA is so close to us, that you're here, I'm just wondering, with all these smart policies and very objective policies that have been put in place, why are we still having cases like we have been just informed that the director is working on a damage that has already been done? We see buildings coming up, they have been marked, they are not supposed to be going high. Or during the weekend, I watched through the NTV, some of us did, a building coming up in Kamukonji. It was already marked during the second floor that it should not be going up, and now it is at its 20th floor. It is already a risk, it is known, and still it is continuing. Exactly what happens. The other question is on the upcoming, we know Kiambu is very well placed for green and agriculture, but we are like turning the...
My name is Samuel Mulandi, and I thank Masinde for the presentation. This is quite well done. I'm concerned about land reclamation that happens in many areas whereby we've seen developers, maybe bring soil and stones and everything on river banks to be able now to do a land reclamation. The next thing that happens is bring up a building. And that approval is made, I get to understand, must be approved by NEMA. Then I get to wonder, for example, you go to mushroom area, there is a lot of land reclamation that is done along the rivers. You will find that a river bank is so much squeezed because a lot of work has been done, gabions have been made, and that's against now the climate and all the work that has, the presentation that has been done. And I don't think it is illegal, but I can call it illegal. And who approves this one? Is it the office of the NEMA? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think Mr. Masinde can respond to that. Oh, there are still other questions. Kindly, straight to the point.
Okay, my name is Philip Ngetich. My question, thank you, Masinde, for presentation. My question is, right now NEMA is basically cleaning Nairobi River. What is happening in our small towns, I think in the next 10 years, will look like Nairobi River.
Okay.
What shall we do?
Thank you.
My name is Winnie Owoko. Thank you for the presentation. My question is on technology. There is a lot of demand for technology. We see the new laptops, the mobile phones. We are over-relying on technology at the moment for every solution. But I've not heard anything about the side effects of technology. These machines are producing a lot of heat. The data centers are producing a lot of heat. How are you regulating this? How are you measuring the effects of the technology?
Thank you. Mr. Masinde, quite some loaded questions. Kindly, we give you an opportunity. Still one more?
Yeah, one more.
Kindly, very quickly.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Masinde. My name is David Tom, and you've talked about the recycling of the waste. But I didn't find the practical steps. For instance, I was looking at the issue of the disposal of diapers and pampers in our cities and in our area of residences. What are the practical steps that you have identified that we can be able to follow? Thank you.
Right. Thank you. And I'm sure we can still interact with Mr. Masinde even after this, but let's hear that last one for now.
Actually, my name is Warigi. I should be the last one.
Thank
I'm in fashion design. For the last 6 months, I've worked in Kiambu. I have noted a gap in fashion design. We use chemicals in dyeing fabrics, and they produce waste. And I have had the presentation, and I've marked it. I have a project in mind. I don't know how how your area comes in terms of when that project comes up, how it is secured, and how the researcher is benefits. I've had a statement regarding that, and how the institution supports the researcher in terms of the sustainability of the workshop, because maybe probably of the different areas that you have mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we can give Mr. Masinde the opportunity to respond to those few questions. Yeah, please.
So it's about, I have about 6 or 7 questions to respond to. First of all is about the green technologies adaptation in areas like urban cities. Of course, the Sustainable Development Goals report talks about the areas we have been able to improve. Of course, one of them is the climate change because of the political will from the highest level. That's why we have designated holidays for tree planting to ensure that we appropriately fight climate change. And then the areas of health, areas of agriculture. I think when you talk of health, health is linked to waste management. There's a lot of diseases caused by the way we manage our waste. And as a country, this is one area we need to really focus on. That's why I talked of coming up with an act specifically focusing on waste, sustainable waste management. And the country is really moving forward. Already we have regulations and extended producer responsibility. Extended producer responsibility. You see the structure, maybe with that I can answer the other question, number 5, on practical steps. Of course, once the regulations are rolled out, we have all the organizations who will be involved, the manufacturers, the importers. They will be responsible for their waste. And we have formed what we call the Extended Producer Responsibility Organization. So the manufacturers, the importers, they will be contributing money to that organization who will be doing the work on their behalf to ensure the waste they generate is collected from the environment completely. Using the youth groups, the women, and the general public will be supported to ensure that the waste they generate is collected and disposed in an appropriate way. The county government comes in also. County governments are supposed to come up with the recovery centers. Each county government has to allocate land for a recovery center where their waste within their county is deposited. There's separation of waste in organic, plastic, glasses, and so that the recyclers can also come in and take the recycled material for manufacturing. That's the general system which is going to play. It has already been tested in developed countries, and it's working. Do you know that even developed countries have not banned the use of plastic? Why is Kenya banning the use of plastic? Because of our behavior. But it is temporary. Once we start behaving well, then we shall lift that ban and continue using our plastic in a better way. So the performance of our country in that, in the health, and even in agriculture is also not very well because the high population, there's a reducing land for agriculture. And even in Kiambu here, you find now buildings are coming up for settlement at the expense of agriculture. We'll be forced to be importing food as a country. Already we are importing. I know there's a lot of food from Tanzania coming into Kenya because as we are concentrated on taking land for development, an arable land for development. I think because of there's more money, but we also need to change our agricultural policies. Our policies have been encouraged the importation and they even have been influenced by the political class, where we are told once you have become an MP, you should also be given a share of importing sugar, such things, so that you can make your own money. And yet, the country is able to produce enough sugar for its people. In terms of policy, of course, we come up with policies. The issue is implementation and enforcement. We are trying in some areas. Sometimes I even think the floods came as a blessing for NEMA. Now we are out to ensure that the riparian areas are not occupied. Even the citizens themselves, they have seen it. Staying in a riparian area is very dangerous. You can lose life once there is heavy rain. So it is a blessing for us. That's why we are out in the field, to ensure that we maintain the riparian areas. And then the building enforcement. Of course, we have policies on buildings, but there is a lot of conflict of interest. And this thing, there are key players in the area. It's only NEMA which is responsible for approvals. We have the county government. If it is near a water body, the Ministry of Water has to come in. And if it is near a wildlife protected area, KWS has to come in. So it is not NEMA alone which approves. The other approval process you have to go through. And here needs remain in the shelves. They are not implemented. So it is our courage to come out and ensure that there is political will. Sometimes as an individual, because as an individual, associations, the impact it can cause when you come as an estate association coming to complain to NEMA, carrying placards. That's when you'll have an impact. But coming as an individual complaining, they'll just record your complaint, but nothing much will be done. Of course, they have had development with the high population. People are now going to sensitive areas, environmental areas, to reclaim land and do buildings for settlement. This is why now we need urban planning. Of course, urban planners have been able to come up with their plans way back from 1954, and that's why we are going back. When you talk of Nairobi River, people who have built along Nairobi River, there was already a plan. But what happened is just they went ahead and built temporary structures with the hope that they'll make money before now the government comes in to claim that land. You have made your projects in Eldoret. There's this river, I don't know, I cannot remember the name. So Siani River here is, of course. We have been there together with the ministry to ensure that we clean that river. And even in other areas, we have had now adopt a river concept in our organizations. We are engaging the learning institutions to come and try to adopt water bodies nearby their areas and try to clean, ensure that there is no pollution in that water bodies. Already we are working with the universities, Eldoret University. 2 weeks ago we were in Kiambu University during the World Environment celebrations. They were able to adopt an urban wetland, and they will be responsible to ensure that that wetland is well protected from encroachment within the population around that town. Those are the few efforts we have been able to be doing as an organization to ensure that wetlands are really protected. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together to appreciate Mr. Masinde. At this juncture, I want to believe that we've gotten quite some action points, even as KINAP, that we can adopt. I take this opportunity, our chief guest, to invite Madam Fena to come and present to us the next keynote speaker. Let's put our hands together as we appreciate her too.
Our chief guest, our chairman, council of the board members, our principal, staff, all invited guests. Good afternoon. Good afternoon once more. Our second sub-theme for our 4th International Research Conference is CBET and industry collaborations. And I present to you Mr. Gideon Murenga from GIZ. He is the Senior TVET and Labor Markets Advisor and is in charge of promotion of youth employment and TVET project GIZ. Let's put our hands together to welcome Mr. Gideon Murenga.
Thank you so much, Chief Guest, Dr. Guantai, Principal, and the members of the Council. There's a presentation that needs to come up, so perhaps I think that projector is off, so you might need to switch it on. Yeah, so I was not scheduled to make this keynote presentation, but I was requested to do it. So I've just prepared something over very short notice. I hope that it can be able to provide the information as per the subject. Yeah, so we can move to the next presentation. So I'm going to focus on dual vocational training, and I will link it to CBET. So I'm looking here at CBET as a pathway, or rather dual TVET as a pathway to CBET. And so you'll have to keep pace with me, the person working on the presentation. Let's go to the next slide. So the changing landscape. We all know that the only constant is change. And this is something we always talk about a lot of times. But this is more truer when it comes to the world of work, because the world of work is one of those areas that are changing very, very fast. A job that is relevant today, the next month might be relevant. And a lot of these changes are happening in the 21st century, within the 21st century changes. Industries are evolving, and so are the skills. And we have seen part of the data, for example, the World Economic Forum report indicates that 85% of employers globally struggle to find skilled workers. 85% of employers globally struggle to find skilled workers. And when you talk about skills, you cannot be able to talk about skills without talking about skills development and therefore bringing in TVET. So TVET comes in at a very critical stage of supporting skills development within the economy of any country. But as we are talking about that, there are myths around TVET that some of us, even in this room, have contributed to, either directly or indirectly, in creating a negative perception towards TVET. And we are all glad that now TVET is now taking a position. One of them has been, we have looked at TVET as the last resort. We have done this in terms of advice, either to young people around us, either to our children. When students have completed university, ule unasikia ameanguka, unakuja unatafuta principal hapa, unamwambia, mtoto wangu, I invested so much, ameanguka. So, tafutia yeye kitu kidogo hapa ile zanzafanya, a survive kwa maisha. This is the conversation we do every day. Because we have already thought in our minds that this student has not succeeded because he did not hit the walls of a university. And one of the things we are saying here is that success is not only confined within the walls of a university. It TVET provides an alternative pathway to education. It is not about, because they did not make it to university, now they can go to TVET. But they are going to TVET because it's an alternative pathway to education. And I'm glad a lot of young people are now realizing that. That's why when you look at the data of young people who are now going through, considering TVET, and they had qualified to go to university, this is increasing. So we cannot be a theoretical, paper-full-based country where all of us want to have good papers, look for jobs, but who will create these jobs? Talk about innovation within the job market is what creates new jobs. Those jobs you want, somebody must create them. There is always this conversation about grade A working for grade C's. And this is always a conversation in the market. Unfortunately, we want to push that also to other generations. Go get good papers and look for a job. Who will create the jobs? So when you look at some of the countries that have been able to, you can go to the case studies. Look at countries that are developed, and I will give some examples, like Germany, for example. They have a very well-established dual TVET system, where they have been able to build a robust, skilled workforce that is actually driving their innovation in that country. In fact, dual TVET is the key factor for their industrial success. And we talk about this every day. Look at countries like Singapore, for example. They have prioritized TVET to transform itself into a skills-based economy. And some of the innovations in areas such as electronics, precision engineering, and biotechnology has been built through the TVET system, because this is a skills-based system. You can move to the next example, which is, yes, go to the next one. South Korea, which is always my best, the example I love most. South Korea, if you read the history of South Korea, in 1952, immediately after they went through a war season, it was one of the poorest countries in the world. In fact, 40% of their population was in absolute poverty in 1952. They took 3 decades to transform themselves from one of the poorest countries to reducing their population in absolute poverty to just about 5%. 3 decades. And how did they do this? Investments in skills development. Looking at smaller industries with a mindset of export. The cottage industries with the mindset of export. So it was a whole shift around changing the mindset. Whatever small thing you are running, look at it in terms of export market. So it means we also have an opportunity as a country, and they usually call it the miracle on the Han River or the Hangang River, that took 3 decades to transform South Korea to where it is. And now you know some of the big brands in the technology industry, in the motor industry, actually coming from this country. Of course, Switzerland as well. China, we all know. TVET plays a very key role. So why am I looking at this? We have transformed into a competency-based education and training. And we are saying this is one of the innovative approaches to education that focuses on mastery of skills. We have been doing a lot of theory-based training. Now we are into CBET, competency-based. It's about what can you be able to do. Unfortunately, the world of work, which I just said at the beginning, that is changing. Now, a lot of employers are going into that direction. They don't care about your certificate. What can you be able to do? You come in, you're presented with a scenario. If you're an automotive person, you're given an engine to assemble. Munazipanga hapo. 5 candidates, kila mtu anaweka yake. Munaambiwa, can you check? You do self-evaluation. Munaangalia nyinyi wenyewe, munasema hii inafanya. this and this and this is not working. By the time the interview is over, you already know that you didn't make it. That is what we're talking about, the competency-based education and training. Moving from theory-based model to mastery of skill, which is very learner-centered. So you can move to the next slide. Of course, there are very few characteristics that I wanted to mention about CBET and why we talk about competency-based. One, since it is competency-based, it has to be based or linked to what does the job market require. And that is why there's something called an occupational standards, which is defined by the world of work. Now, I am bringing in where the industry comes in. So the industry has to provide what are the occupational standards for this particular vocational area. So you develop an occupational standard. That's one of the unique characteristics about it. The other characteristics, you can move to the next one. It has a modular structure. Now, wale watu walifanya building and construction. Na saizi ume-participate kwa kujenga. How many skills can you be able to generate within a construction site now? About how many? Who can guess? Kwa construction site, tuko na nani? Tuko na nani? Mtu wa wire. Mtu mason, plumber. Welding. You can see already. I don't need to mention all of them. If you unpackage that, that gives you about 11 or 12 different competencies. So why do you want to subject someone to a 2-year course before they get into a field where there's already specialization? So this is the reason why CBET introduces a modular structure. Wao unaweza sema mimi nataka tu kusoma gypsum technology. Period. They go to the field, focus on gypsum technology. Huyu anasema mimi nataka kufocus tu on plumbing. You go to the field and start working. And they are earning. And some of you have received quotations from those guys. And you know how much they charge. Sio pesa kidogo. So they are earning a living. So that is one of the characteristics that comes in with CBET. So you learn a competence, whether it is a 3 months, a field that this student is passionate in. Course you took was influenced by how do they add value in the TVET system? Thank you so much.
Let's appreciate Mr. Mrenga once more. as KINAP, we've had the privilege of having him as a friend to our institution, walking the journey of dual training, and we can attest that he's indeed an expert in that field. 1 or 2 minutes for
technical field that you want your students to go. So that helps you filter out the companies that are appropriate for the course. So it's it reduces risks of making sure students are touched in the wrong places. Okay. Yes, HOD sensitization of industries. Number one, the legal framework, which we are currently working on, is about to be presented to the cabinet for ratification. Number two, the process is continuous. So every day, whichever opportunity we get with an industry, we sensitize them. Even here, especially the council, are connected to so many industries. And we have institutions where it's actually the council bringing the industries because of their connection and linkage to the society. Now, I said we have 70 institutions on board. So everybody has a role to play when it comes to bringing on board industries. And this sensitization meeting are taking place all over. I think at the moment, the program is supporting across the country. Last week, I was in Baringo, National Polytechnic. I had about 25 industries, very local ones. The following day, I was in Cochin, also in Eldoret. We had in fact, Cochin brought about 82 industries. 82. The room was full with 82 industries. And out of that, they committed 150 slots. So for industries is about what is the value for them. Remember, they are profit-making entity. So they don't care so much about what you do. But if they see the value and understand why do they need to train a student within their workplace, they buy in. We have those who are even paying school fees for students. We even have those who are paying stipends and many other things. So for the industry, they need to see what is the value. Once they see the value, then they are onboarded. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's appreciate him once more as we come to a close of the second sub-theme. We reiterate our theme, Activate the Game Changer, and we look forward to a day when Kenya will be a case study for the best dual training, and KINAP will be the best institution globally. It is our dream, it is our desire, and we are doing all we can to make it a reality. Thank you, Mr. Gideon Murenga, for gracing this conference and for your very good presentation. I take it back to our MC, Dr. Jane Gitau.
Thank you. Let us applaud them. Our chief guest, I am sure you are as enlightened as we are in those two areas that have just been covered by the two great speakers. At this juncture, I wish to call upon our chief principal so that he can take us through the remaining session of this day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jane. Once again, let us give a little clap for Mr. Gideon and also Mr. the first speaker, Mr. Masinde. Thank you very much. So we have had two great presentations. And I want to believe that you are as enlightened as I am. It was you are well selected. I'm sure we could not have a better presenters than the ones we have. So without much ado, I want to say that we have come to the time that we have been waiting for. I look at the time, I realized it is going to 2. And when it is going to 2, you know what starts happening. Then we are doing the right things at the right time. So I want to bring to you my guest, our chief guest for this day and for this occasion. And since we have the chairman around, I want to do the honor of having the chairman invite our chief guest. Karibu Chair.
Thank you very much, Pan Principal. Good afternoon once again. I want to thank the two speakers who have taken us through their presentations. It's very enlightening. And I think moving on, we are going to be engaging with them where we have questions or points of discussion. We're going to do that. Mr. Mulenga will talk a little bit maybe on something, and we'll see what happens. We thank you so much for this. So without much ado, help me welcome our chief guest this morning. Let's stand, because we've been sitting for a long time. Let's all stand as we clap and invite our speaker, the guest speaker this morning. Let's have a clap for him. Thank you very much. Karibu sana. Karibu sana.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We can sit down. I was just checking the time if the chief principal was okay. It's 2:15, but it didn't. You are doing well. And you are aware I'm here on behalf of the cabinet secretary who is out of the country. And therefore then what is there in Tibet, we are happy that chair, together with your board and your secretary to the council, you found it fit to have the cabinet secretary increase this occasion, and at the same time identify a very nice theme on whereby we're having our Tibet, or the Tibet being the game changer in leveraging the skills as well as the innovations for skills development. And these, indeed, even the sub-themes that you have identified in various sessions, all the way up to the cross-cutting issues that we expect the NACOS DG to do a presentation on the issues of digital transformation, the greening technologies, the aspect of climate change, and what our representative of the development partners has presented on CBET and the industry leading is very, very objective in terms of this. I'm aware time has gone, but I think I will take less than 3 hours to deliver this message. I was given a speech, which is, if you look at it, 3-page document, it will take a lot of time. Therefore, what I want to do to you, Chair, I will just present it to you, then cut across in between, and do not tell the cabinet secretary that I did not read his speech, isn't it? We agree on that, isn't it? What I may say is that all protocols observed, starting with you, Sir Frederick, the board members, and the secretary, as well as the organizers and the other presenters. I'm happy to be here to grace this occasion on behalf of the cabinet secretary, Honorable Sekir Machok. Indeed, you have done well in preparing this occasion. You are aware where Tibet is. And first of all, I was encouraged by the entertainers. Ituimbia maneno ya Mutula, isn't it? Were they ensuring that the Muturo becomes tasty? I don't know. But to some extent, we all accepted that that mutura is good food if it's done in a clean environment. Ama namna gani? And indeed, I was very happy. Then secondary, I was happy about the presenters. I don't know, chair and the chief principal, what you'll do with them. Not even the presenters. I'm talking about the exhibitions. What we saw with you there. The other day, on the TV, the DNG Kenya Power took almost 30 minutes to explain to us how they want to migrate from what? Eti kondi ita change. Mulisikia hiyo ama ni mimi nisikia hiyo maneno? Eti if you must update your what? Is it meter? Wale watoke ni ama inaitwa nini? Mnakumbuka hiyo maneno? Well, as one of your trainers here explained to us, there is a better way. How will that reach the KPLC? Can we? That is how we will start. 182. That's where we start. Can we present this information to the NDNG KPLC to see what they can do to consume this information that was presented, that was exhibited in this conference? Ama namna gani? Then, you know, now I'm not talking like the CS. You know, the CS hakukuwa hapa, mimi ndio niliona, isn't it? Then, the avocado. I may say it's the avocado man. Sijui, all of you, if you have gone to the exhibitions. Umeenda huko kweli? Nani ametembea huko? Imagine very few. The avocado sins and the peel. Ile tunatupa. We're informed it contains 50 to 55% of what? Of the substrate that can be used. Are you together? To either to manufacture a number of things, or it can be used as a source of energy. And then we inform that they can be used as a booster, antioxidant. Are we together in this? Then, to what extent? I'm assuming that this institution has, kuna mtu amefanya medicinal chemistry? I don't know. What about chemistry? Hii maneno analysis and it's wako. How can we analyze those products? The person who was presenting to us the issue of the avocado, can you go beyond? Maybe when you'll be cooking or treating it in another, or putting it into a number of processes that you are talking about, maybe you are losing maybe some of the product. What is the analysis if it does not go all those procedures? Suppose it's taken after grading, you just take it. What is it? Can this be an institution whereby we can develop many detox? Mnasema ni detox ama nini? Detox ni ile kutoa uchafu kwa mwili, isn't it? Can we produce many products after us having participated in this conference? From Kefri and the seedlings. There was somebody who was presenting to us something on seedling, the moringa, the Condi africana, and all that. And he told us there are some medicinal plants there. We can produce detox from those. We can package them. So what we are saying, we should not come to the conference only to reset. Are we together on this one? But there must be an output out of this. Ama namna gani? Look at the clothing and textile. They can design the under the theme of blue. Are we talking about? It's a nice dress. It keeps you interested in looking at that dress. Therefore, what's the end of it? Hapa Nairobi tuko na shinda mingi ya housing. Are we together on this one? You stay in one room house. use it as a what? As a bedroom, as a table room, as a kitchen, isn't it? But then we saw a bed, a very nice bed. Sindio Mwalimu? Yes, we saw it. Are we together? Then I asked the trainer, mumeenda kwa market? Hapana. Sasa mulitengeneza ya nini? Wana Prince mulitengeneza ya nini? Council member. Are we together? Keri, mulitengeneza ya nini? Si supposed to go to the market. Sasa support the mwalimu nao apeleke hizi vitu kwa market together with the trainers. The trainers will be motivated and they will be happy about all this. Angalia ni ile kitu ya automatic what? Ile ingine ya kufungua curtain kuliko kwenda. Have you seen it? Did Gideon umeenda hapo? Yes, using those mechatronics, the automation systems to open the curtain and see, instead of opening during the occasion, when you press here, then it opens itself. Then I was challenging them to go to Koinange Street. We have the CJ Nini there. A roof like this one, with a click of a button, in a open, in a low. Using it's just the clothing that we have. Are you together? It's the same thing that we want. Let them go to the market. Other thing, in fact, you are in the right place. Can you craft for yourself? That is where you are supposed to go. And here we are talking of the digital transformation. Hapo tuko sawa. Are you together on this one? And that is why I hear of the one Silicon Valley, isn't it? Simesikia hiyo maneno ya Silicon Valley in United States. Hii maneno unasikia Apple, then Google. Hii ingine unaita nini? Apple Stama inaitwa nini? Si wote wako hapo. Then we also need to create our own valley here. Nasikianga Kenya is known as what? Silicon what? Savannah. Just because of the M-Pesa and many other things. Sio maneno ya kutengeneza hizo cousins and etc. Siendelee na ifanyike hapa. Why can't they start in Kiambu National Polytechnic? See, that's great. Yes. What I was saying is that I've accepted and I've appreciated what was demonstrated out there by this institution. Craft for yourselves once again. Unajua tutakubaliana na hii maneno na mimi I think hakuna watu wa kuandika taarifa hapa, isn't it? You have heard of when you're talking of Silicon Savannah or etc. Kenyan Digital World. Hata wale wa SNDA wakati walikuwa wanaimba hapa wako kuja na ile kitabu kwetu. I come from Presbyterian Church. Kuna ile kitabu tulikuwa tunabeba. Are we together? These days people are carrying the what? Their phones, isn't it? I'm not of that age, lakini the other day, jana tu ndio niliambiwa there is a generation being called generation what? Ilianza lini? I don't know. But mumesikia hiyo maneno. Are you together? Yes, I'm not saying that I'm not supporting what was done yesterday. Kwa hiyo msiniuliza. Are we together? But what I'm saying is that we want to appreciate what is being done and what our young ones in this country can do. And then let the support them do what? Commercialization. Look at the design of the building design. Kuna mtu alikuwa anatengeneza flyover ya pale kwa gate, isn't it? You remember that? Lakini the only problem is that it's the principal and wale wa kukomesa wananiitikia. Kwa sababu ninyi hamujaenda kuangalia what? Yes, those who have traveled to Nairobi town, even at 1 or at 11 a.m., 10 a.m., 8 a.m., una drive all the way from Thika Road. Sindio? Ukifika Pangani, you meet a jam there. Are we together? Is it true? And then we use billions of money, vehicles running because of jam, just at Pangani. Hapo, mnaelewa mali naongea, isn't it? Forest Road, Pangani, and etc. And we have our young Kenyans here. Are we together? I was challenging them. Why can't you design it and then you go chair, principal, support them, let them stay there with their principal, with their HOD and their trainers, stay for 1 week, surveying, looking at the way they can solve that problem, wachore. Are we together? Then wakichora, present it to our cabinet secretary. Let him present it to the president. Are we together on this one? To see how can it, usiulize itafika. We chora tu. Even if they sponsor or they don't sponsor, we chora tu. Do your work. Are we together on this one? But when you're doing any research, try to solve a what? A problem that is somewhere. Then this institution, you're aware, it's, I don't know why you took the initials. KIA Kinapu, isn't it? Hii mulipeleka wapi? Ama ne. Yes? T means what? I'm not saying you change. Are you together, isn't it? What I want to insist is that the one there, it's making you the real thing, isn't it? Yes, you are given a legal Honda. What was it supposed to do? Develop your own programs. I'm happy when a principal you have a good chair. You talked about of the number of programs. Yeah, Nangaria, Senator Jika. In addition, we require many butchers in this country. Mnajua butchers. 80% of our skins in this country are destroyed at the what? One night of prayers at the butcher, at the slaughterhouse. Are we together on this one? Then the other thing, our people, many of us do not know how to grind meat. If you go to places where meat is sold, utasai uende huko Dagoretti. Meat, the highest one, ile iko na pesa mingi ni 520 shillings per kg at the slaughterhouse. Are you together? And that meat goes as low as even 300 shillings. Sijui kama unajua namna ama unaenda kwa butcher unaitisha nyama tu kwa sababu nyama ni, si ndio? No, nyama has what? Categories and its classification. The principal secretary the other day mentioned that 400 required 300 butchers or fryers. Not 300, 1,000. But there was, I don't know if they found any in Kenya. So, I'm happy with you, Chair. The way you talked, I like, he talked of the programs that he finds that they are necessary for this country. And this is very great. You are aware you have been talking about the diaspora affairs. You have heard of that, yeah, diaspora and job affairs. And I think, Chair, with the management, you can approach the State Department of Diaspora Affairs. They come here with their 40 or so recruiters who they have accredited so that the young ones of this institution can see really there's a job out there. They call it what? Kasi, the hashtag, isn't it? Kasi Maju. And it's very good because I've seen, the way I've seen, if the training takes place the way I've seen out there, I think these people, our graduates, can go far. So develop your own programs. Chair, conduct assessment. Musiende mahali ingine. Conduct what? Issue certificates of the Kiambu National what? Polytechnic. And then start conducting RPR. RPR is what? Recognition of prior what? Learning. And as you conduct the recognition of prior learning, also mentor the institutions which are next to you, which is very, very important. And as Murenga, whom we have worked and with on this issue of the dual training, as he has said, please train with the industries and train for the market. And this is very good. For me, I work, I'm the end of trainer management unit at the TVS sector. So I handle the trainers issues for the last 2 months or 3 months or so. And my inform you that we have a CPD and draft CPD policy, which is still on Gideon also. They are supporting us to complete and even pilot it. CPD is what? Continuous what? So in this case, any of your trainers who support the young ones to develop those good projects, and they need to be recognized also. That is the purpose of even CPD. If you undergo and given kind of a training, undertake and given training, which is very important, you also undergo that kind of a, you accumulate some credit points. And this will be very important because we will use it for promotions, for recommendations when called upon to do so. And in this case then, early in the morning we are discussing with the chair, and is born together with the principal of why many trainers of Kiambu National Polytechnic would like to transfer to Nairobi County. I was asking why. Then I'm aware of the what? Reason in sababu gani? House allowance. Kwa hivyo so unasikia mwalimu house allowance. And indeed, I wish even the people of the media are here to hear this, isn't it? If you have said, we have talked of the one metropolitan, and the Kiambu is part of what? Or allowances. Are we together? They need to cut what? Cross. They need to be exposed. Are we together with this? With this case then, for me at my level, I will approach the principal secretary and the cabinet secretary to present against this so that they can light. Na sijasema itapitishwa, nimesema I will do my part. Are we together? Because the other day I was handling a case of a principal of a deputy transferred to Mbeere North. Mnajua Mbeere North? Mbeere North is uko down. Somebody, eh? Yeah, deep Mbeere. They call that place Ubalere. Ubalere is whereby you can buy witchcraft. Inaitwa nini? Are we together? In the public service, it is not categorized as an handship area. But if you come to Jeremiah Nyaga, it's an handship area. Not by the public service, but because TSC and the categories are better as what? An handship area. But then there was no institution established there known as what? Better not. So for them, they do not draw any handship allowance. So you see, there is a lot of what? Yes, even an institution that borders Galisa, inaitwa Nu or Kitui East, whereas the others draw the what? The handship. So I am aware that there are certain discrepancies, certain inequalities or etc. which can be handled. And therefore then, I think now, because there is no much time, I can read the last part of the cabinet secretary's speech, isn't it? You can allow me to do that, isn't it? But what you are aware about here is that this institution, you have embraced CBET. We are aware about that, Mwalim. At the same time, you are supporting science, STEM, the STEM courses. Are we together on this one? And your ratio here is very high, 85 to 15, 85% to 15%, which is very key. And then, but you have not done very well with the aspect of gender. You have 63% males and that 7% female. But I think we will improve as time comes on. And then at the same time, I appreciate the support we have got specifically from the GIZ as well as the Finland because of the support they have given us on the issue of dual training. So I read this. In conclusion, isn't it? CBET is a transformative force in harnessing skills and innovations for sustainable development in Kenya. It is therefore imperative to acknowledge the significance of TVET and commit to investing in its advancement. By working collaboratively, we can cultivate proficient workforce that fuels economic progress and creativity, leading the path towards a promising future for our nation. As part of the academic community, it is our collective responsibility to advocate for and foster research initiatives, as they are instrumental in paving the way for a brighter future for generations to come. Together, let us embark on this intellectual journey with optimism, recognizing that research we engage in today owns the potential to mold the future and leave a lasting imprint on the world. It is now my humble duty to declare this fourth International Research Conference of Kiambu National Polytechnic officially open. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our chief guest. You just said something that has excited us very, very much, and it is our prayer that it will work when you approach the PS. We want to appreciate you in a better way. We want to do it electronically, and I am looking for Mr. Molandi or Mr. Mwashi from Electrical and Electronics Department so that they can lead us in an electrifying appreciation of our chief guest.
Thank you very much. Let us stand and give 3 electrostatic claps. So we'll charge up to 415 volts. We shall start with 120 or 110 for low voltage, and then we charge up to 415 volts. So you can charge, you charge to, that's 240, fine network, 415, and then you drop. Second one, we charge, that's 110 for radio, low voltage for radio, TV, charge to 240, 415, then drop. Then lastly, we charge, fine network, and then drop. Thank you.
Asante sana. Let us also clap for him. We want to welcome our lead usher, Madam Jennifer Mugo, so that she can take us to the next session where we need to also give our guests a token of appreciation. Madam Jennifer. Okay, she says she will give a photo of thanks and then Madam Jennifer will come. That's okay.
Thank you. My name is Anne Macharia. I am a trainer at the business department. Our chief guest, our council chair, our chief principal, and our keynote speakers, fellow trainers, presenters, students, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome once again to KINAP. We are happy to have you here. Now, we would really want to thank God for giving us an opportunity to host or to hold our fourth research conference, our first as a National Polytechnic. We want also to thank our chief guest, Dr. Wantai from TVETA. Our keynote speakers, we had 2. We had Mr. Joseph Masinde, that is the Senior Environmental Education Information Officer at NEMA, and also Mr. Gideon Murenga, That is the Senior TVET and Market Labor Advisor of the Promotion of Youth Employment and TVET project at GIZ. Now, we are also grateful to the organizers. Thank you very much. They met very many times to make this happen. We also want to thank the KINAP administration for availing the resources and allowing us to carry out this noble task. So our presenters, please feel welcome. We are grateful to have you here. Told we have Pelican Insurance represented, Kefri, Nkabune TTI, Nyandarua National Polytechnic, SOTTTI, the ICT Authority, KST VET, that is Kenya School of TVET. We have Joro TTI, we have the Public Works Office from Kiambu, we have PUPS, and several others. If I didn't mention you, please feel recognized and you're very much welcome to this place. Now, we also would like to appreciate our students. They have such good exhibitions. I went around and some of these things are amazing. I couldn't fail to notice the one from Applied Sciences Department. That is the solar dryer. You can dry your grains without necessarily exposing them to the sun directly. And then we have the electrical department, the smart prepaid meter. And I think that's a great thing, as mentioned also by our chief guest, that I can buy power for my house from wherever I am. Currently, it's not possible. You can buy, but you stay with it or you text it to someone. Now, this is really a game changer. From the mechanical engineering department, we have, I noted the solar powered automatic drip system and the automatic curtain launcher. You know, that's great. It was mentioned here. From the building department, the plastic bottle walling. Now, creating a wall using plastic bottles. That's excellent. And we have the bakery and hospitality department, a lot of cakes. I also noted the duvet and the pillows going for 6,000. After this, we can go buy. And then from the electrical department, we have several other issues. So God bless you for coming. Thank you so much. Please walk around, see what we have, feel appreciated. And I want us to clap for ourselves and everybody at once. And you're not going to do electrical ones or electrifying ones. We're just going to give 3 hearty claps. Okay, let's start. Thank you very much. Yeah, so we would like to appreciate our guests. We will start with Mr. Joseph Masinde from NEMA. Please come forward. And I'll ask our chair from the Mechanical Engineering Department. Please come forward. We'd like you to present the gift to our guest. Thank you very much. Then we have Dr. Rachel Nyamo. Please come and present a gift to Mr. Gideon Murenga, our next keynote speaker. Dr. Rachel Nyamo also heads our income generating activities department. So here you are. So thank you very much. Our chief guest is going to be appreciated by Dr. Jane, who is going to give him the gift and also take us to the next session. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Madam Anne. I wish to request our council chair and the principal to step forward and appreciate our chief guest. for honoring the invitation. So kindly, chief guest, step forward also so that we can appreciate you. Thank you so much for honoring this invitation. Thank you for starting us off with a bang. We know that this is going to be a wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you very much. Asante sana. Thank you so much. Our scouts also for doing it in style. So as they march out, I wish to ask the head of department, applied sciences, to conduct the closing prayer and also to direct us on where to go for lunch and what should happen in the afternoon. Madam Ann Obiero, please, the stage is yours. And also remember to pray for the meal.
Good afternoon. Kindly let's stand for a word of prayer. Let's pray. Our loving Father, we are so grateful this afternoon. Thank you for being with us since we started. And our Lord, we have learned a lot from this conference first day, our Lord. We thank you for you have been with us. You have taught us, our God, in so many ways. And I pray, dear Lord, even as we leave this place, we go out a changed person. We thank you, dear Lord, for our chief guest. We thank you for our council chair. We thank you for our chief principal. Continue blessing them, Lord, and lifting them high, O God. We leave this place with your blessings. And even as we go to the next stage, O God, may you go with us as we look forward for tomorrow and for the remaining sessions, O God. We welcome your presence to be with us and to walk with us. Take care of us, protect us, our Father. For this is our simple prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. So for lunch, kindly have a seat. The chief guest and our chief principal and the council members will go to the boardroom for lunch. And then the other members, we shall meet in hall 2. I've forgotten to pray for lunch. Let's pray for lunch. Lord, we thank you for the lunch that has been prepared for us. We take it with thanksgiving in our hearts. May you bless it even as we share it. Oh God, may it be of benefit in our health. We thank you and we bless you for providing it unto us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So in that order, we shall allow our chief guest, our chief principal, and the council members to walk out. Then we shall walk out after they leave. Thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon and God bless you.
Good afternoon, all. I also take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this conference. There's